Well, it's homecoming day here on Spilling the Tea in Studio D. Isn't that kind of nerdy, honey?
Okay.
Yeah. I came up with the Studio D. She's spilling the tea. She's trying to be hip, of which
Listen.
she will never be.
Listen,
Okay, right?
This is why we don't prepare. And I'm like, homecoming? I was like,
Yeah.
they just had graduation. And
Yeah.
Katie's in the background looking at
Yeah.
me. And I'm like,
Yep.
but then it hit me.
You
I know what you're
and
talking
I
about. I know.
both worked at Fountain Lake,
Yes,
remember?
It took
Okay.
me just a
Go
second.
Cobras.
Okay.
It
Yeah,
took
go
me a
Cobras,
second.
right? See,
Go Cobras.
See, I got the memo. Fountain Lake, you know what I'm saying? One of us is proud to be a Cobra.
I mean, I just was in a hurry and grabbed my Studio D T-shirt this morning. So
Okay, I got you. All right.
Hunter will forgive me. It's
yeah,
all
right.
we
It's all good.
digress. We're very excited about our guest today. We got Hunter Lively, a former student, current educator here at Fountain Lake. And, your mom was with the district several years.
For sure.
So let's just do this, Hunter. How about you kind of dive in and kind of give us the old Hunter history. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. So, like you mentioned, I was a student here, started in preschool, finished up as a senior. So, I was here 14 years. And my mom was here all 14 of those years. She actually just retired after 36 years of service to the district, I believe.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
shout out to her. She's
Yeah.
she's been one of my driving forces that wanted, to see me succeed and excel in life, and she was one of the reasons that I wanted to come back and teach.
Right.
After her modeling that. So,
That's awesome.
it was really interesting how I got this job. I was the assistant AD down at Henderson State University
Right.
in Arkadelphia, where Dawson's at.
Right.
And I got a phone call from Danton Robertson.
Yep.
Mentioned, hey, we got this position open. Would you have any interest? And I was like, absolutely. After hearing all the different qualifications and all the things that you needed to teach, I was like, I can do that.
Right.
And with us being a charter school,
Yep.
I necessarily didn't even have to get my teaching license. I was
Right.
able to come in with years of experience in the
Right.
field. And so what I teach here is film and video production, a little bit of broadcasting mix into that. We do morning announcements every single morning with my advanced class that I have first period, and then we also do a monthly Cobra update segment. But came in 2021, beginning of the school year in 2021, so this is just wrapping up my second year here teaching at Fountain Lake, and these kids here are phenomenal. They're
Right.
great kids, and they work really, really hard. A lot of them don't come from much at home. They
Right.
come in and they see this equipment, and they see some of this big-time expensive equipment for the first time,
Right.
and we just have unbelievable resources here.
Oh, yeah.
So shout out to the administration team for being able to work with us and have the budgets in place to where we can purchase the equipment that we use
Right.
here. So,
Yeah.
came in again beginning of last school year, and really, I had no idea what to expect to start out with as a brand new teacher, but the kids welcomed me with open arms. Love my advisory crew to death. And it's been a phenomenal experience here at Fountain Lake. The people here are second to none, first class, and they're like family to me.
Right. Yeah. Well, and you talk about the family piece. I can expand on that a little bit because, my dad, he's a graduate, I think
Right.
57, 58, something like that.
Yeah.
So, when the job came open for superintendent, I went to him for advice, and I was like, Dad, what do you think? And he looked at me and said, well, I went to school there. I said, yes, sir. And he said, well, don't screw it up. I said, that's all the advice I got.
For sure.
Yeah,
But,
it's a great place.
Oh, it's a great place, and Candy can, she can attest to that. The
Right.
family,
Yes.
and you honestly, you don't get that everywhere.
Right.
And to me, I think the unique thing about it is honestly all the resources. We've got plenty of retired teachers in the village that come in. And they are great to come in and volunteer.
For sure.
And then the community, outside the village, I guess you would say, if their kids are involved, they're involved. So it's just really and truly, it's a unique setting, unique place, and everybody just gets behind the school here.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned the Hot Springs Village piece, because we actually just partnered with the HSV Business Expo a couple weeks ago. I had 3 of my students go out, shoot some video for them at the expo, come back, chopped all the footage up, put together a nice little hype piece for them. They're going to be able
Right.
to take that, put it on their YouTube and on their website, and showcase they never had anybody do that for them before.
Wow.
And so
Oh,
we had
wow.
one of my students partnered with them in that as one of the projects. I know Coach Rhodes in the East program, they do a lot of those community service projects, but this one was really the first one in a long time where we actually got to go out in the community and make a difference.
Right.
For an for a organization.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
awesome.
you know, as I look around this place and I think back, even when I was at teaching and coaching and started, because radio TV,
Yeah.
where I started broadcasting up at Jesseville, but
Right.
your predecessor, Mark DeLindy, I can remember, you know, when I got a grant, and there was like 2 of them floating around the state of Arkansas way back when, but I really didn't have a clue. I mean, this is the honest to God truth. We didn't necessarily have the internet so much, but
Yeah.
I opened up a phone book, and he was like one of 2 places that you could go. And I remember going to his shop over in Benton, and he kind of got me going. Everything was linear back then. Everything you had to plug in and all that stuff. And man,
Yeah.
not that way. What used to take us probably about an hour and a half, you can get done in 20 seconds now.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Everything's going digital these days.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's cool. Yeah, I was reflecting back on my time here, and everybody's just so great. You know, we had such a great time and
Mm-hmm.
made some huge connections, and still, you know, visit with these people and see them every once in a while, and just really, I miss them. Like
Oh, yeah.
coming in today, it was just like really awesome.
It's been an emotional last couple of weeks with the seniors kind of wrapping
Yeah.
up their careers, and you know, last year's senior group, I didn't really get a chance to know a lot of them. There were a couple, you know, that I had in class, but to be able to see this year's class that I got really attached to last year and got to see
Yeah.
them flourish. A lot of those seniors took my fundamentals class for the first time because they just weren't involved with the film program for whatever it was. They had some credits that they needed to get wrapped up, and they had an open spot on their schedule, so they took me as a senior this year. And man, I wish I had some of those kids back for, you know,
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
years in the future, just
Right.
because they're so talented, and they
Oh,
came
yeah.
in as
Yeah.
in the fundamentals class, but really probably should have been in the advanced class
Yeah.
with their knowledge.
And you mentioned, you know, that advisory. When Donald and I were here, we did advisory too. I even got I had my own advisory,
Right.
even as an assistant principal, and you just really get attached to those kids
For
because you
sure.
see them so often, and
Every
you're
day.
able to develop those relationships easier
Right.
than when you're having to be in a class and teaching the content and
Yeah.
everything else. So
They really preach that here is, you know,
Yeah.
just care about the kids,
Yeah.
you know, a little bit, and don't just sit there, let them come in and play on their phones the whole time. There's no reason to do that
Right.
when you have
Right.
activities you can be doing with them,
Yeah.
talking to them about life, you know.
Yeah.
I know my kids are only 10th graders. They're about to be juniors. They need to start learning those real life
Right.
skills to get out. How do you have a conversation
Yeah.
with an adult?
Right.
How do you type a appropriate email in the
Right.
business world? How do you, I say balance a checkbook, but everybody uses
I don't do that
credit cards and
anymore. Yeah.
debit
Right,
cards now.
yeah.
But how do
Yeah.
you manage your money? You
Right.
know, how do you do all these things, and how do you
Yeah.
get prepped for college or a profession? You know,
Yeah.
that's one thing that
Yeah.
we take pride
Right.
in here is getting kids ready. Even if they're not going to college, we still get them prepped and ready to go into the workforce
Oh,
and find a
absolutely.
job
Yeah.
with all the CTE courses we offer
Yeah.
here.
I was talking to somebody the other day, the credit card push when you do get to college. I mean, some of those kids, if they're not exposed to, you know, that bombardment of credit cards when they get there, you mean I can get this piece of plastic and
Yeah.
you know, have free reign?
Yep.
You know, yeah, so that piece is important. But we talk a lot about, you know, the importance of the relationships. You said that earlier, and, you know, I guess we really don't think about it until you think about it, but you know, it's 4 miles, square miles, and that's a big district. It truly is. I mean, some of them that are large districts in numbers, and they may be only like 11, 12 square miles at the size of the district.
Right.
But man, we go places that they have to pump sunshine in, you know,
Yeah.
at Fountain Lake. And so, you know, again, I credit the administration too, because they really want to expose these kids to a lot of things that, you know, ordinarily they wouldn't get those opportunities.
Right.
Right.
And I can remember too, you know, even things like paying for the ACT. You know, I could tell you,
Yeah.
you know, a couple of kids that got awarded scholarships on their scores alone and wouldn't
Right.
have had that if they, you know, that sounds simple.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
worked out for
Well,
them.
and we've got a great partnership with National Park College as well, and they offer those courses, you know, the Med Pro and
Right.
the things of that sort that the kids can go out and get that hands-on experience as early as their junior year. So I've got a lot
Right.
of my 10th grade advisory kids that are going to be juniors next year that are going to be, when we were filling out their schedules at our CAPS
Right.
conferences, they were like, I want to take these classes out at the college. And
Yeah.
they get
Right.
2 credits for each
Yeah.
class that they take out there,
Right.
which is phenomenal.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, you said your mom 36 years
Yes.
here, and you know, and you also said this, and this is kind of speaks a lot about the school and the community. But I really think it's kind of cool how there are a lot of kids that work hard to work their way back to Fountain Lake.
Right.
So, I mean, that says a lot about the community.
Oh,
They
yeah.
want to come back and reinvest. And to me, I mean, I don't think there's any bigger selling point than that. You
Right.
know?
No, when I came back to take this job, walking through these top floor in the high school hallways for the first time again since probably, I think I came back maybe once or twice between when I
Right.
graduated, just to visit, things of that sort. But when you come back to visit, very rarely do you get to just walk the halls of the highway,
Right,
or
yeah.
of the hallway
Yeah.
of the high school. And when COVID hit, that kind of screwed up my 10-year
Right.
reunion because that
Right.
fell right around the same time of
Yeah,
COVID.
right.
So
Yeah.
we didn't really get to have a big gathering to come back and see how things had changed and all that. And so
Right.
when I came back to take this job, the nostalgia just hit me right in the
Yeah.
feels.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
walking through the hallways again, how
Yep.
things have changed, but there are also things that are still present here that were present when I was walking through these hallways just 11, 12 years ago.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, it's been, this is 7 years that I've been at the co-op, but still, I mean, it's, I think, Dr. Murphy and the staff, they've done an incredible job to keep the momentum going. And, the growth is continuing to grow. Heck, there's even stoplights out front,
Yep.
and that, and I think that's something that was talked about even before I
Right.
got here. And, for that kind of growth, to continue, that says a lot about the district. It
Right.
says a lot about the staff and the quality of the product that's being generated.
Absolutely.
Here at Fountain Lake.
I think the
So,
biggest winner out of all of it is probably Sonic.
Yeah.
Because they get so much business
Yeah.
from our students. They're literally
Yeah.
within
Yeah.
walking distance from the school.
Yeah.
And it
Oh,
was
for
there when I
sure.
was in school.
Yeah.
I know I spent tons of money
Oh,
at that
yeah.
place
Yeah.
before basketball
Yeah.
games,
Oh, yeah.
football games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times as
Yeah.
assistant principal I had to be like, you cannot walk to Sonic
Right.
during the day. Like,
Yeah.
it was just
I know my kids are all the time,
constant.
Mr. Lava, you going to Sonic for lunch? You want to bring me
Yeah.
back a drink? Nope,
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah,
can't do that.
Yeah.
Well, I got a funny story about that. We pulled up in there one day, and my wife, she's like, 98% of the women in America got to have that Sonic drink. We pulled up in there one day, and we were talking, and I said, "Hey, can I take your order?" And she said, "Yeah, I'll have the Cobra discount." Blah, blah. And I looked at her and I said, "Cobra discount? What is that?" I didn't even know. I mean, I'm running the school, and she's
You're-
talking Cobra discount. She said, "What do you mean you didn't know about that?"
That's funny.
I was like,
That
"I
is so
didn't."
funny.
So, but yeah. As far as coming in and bringing your expertise, talk a little bit about that, how the two of those kind of meshed.
Yeah. So when I was at Henderson State, I graduated with my bachelor's degree in 2014 in communications, and then graduated with my master's degree in sport administration in 2016. Those 2 years between that, 15 and 16, I served as the grad assistant for the Henderson State Sports Info Department. And in that role, I got to do radio broadcasting. I was able to do play-by-play and color commentary both for home basketball games, road basketball games, did sideline reporting for football,
Right.
even got to do some public address in there
Oh, yeah.
as well with
Right.
Cool.
basketball, baseball, softball. So I got exposed to a lot of that, just thrown to the wolves basically,
Right.
because we didn't have anybody else in the admin team.
Right.
You guys know at the Division II level, you got to wear a
Yeah.
lot of hats.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so we were able to really just focus those efforts. And then combine that with the video production piece. I was able to do some, interview videos as well as hype pieces for basketball,
Right.
football, all those things. And so when I took over as the assistant AD in 2017, for those next 3 to 4 years, served in that role, continued to make those videos. And that's kind of what I showcased whenever I came here on my visit
Right.
for my interviews. Like, look, this is what I not only can do, but I can teach this. And here's proof. I
Right.
had a group of interns every single year. I was in the assistant AD role.
Right.
I had interns that came in. They shot video for me on the sidelines at football games and
Right.
basketball games and volleyball games. And not only can I produce the video, but I can show people how to do that. And I want to, bring that to the kids and kind of just reach them in a way that I've not been able to in the past. Give me these
Right.
classes of kids, and we'll be able to crank out morning announcements that we've been doing
Right.
for the last year. That's something that Mr. Janaski, we didn't have it last year as much, but this year we were able to do it every single day because I had, I like to call it my little army that I've built
Right,
of students
yeah.
that
Right.
come in and they work. They do it every single day. And it's tedious. It's a grind, but it's
Oh,
part of
yeah.
their grade.
Right.
They split it up. There's, I think, 10 total kids now in that class. I lost my 2 seniors
Right,
to
yeah.
graduation. And so those 10th graders in there, I said, listen, you're the next cream of the crop. You're the next group that's coming up. You guys either take it and run with it, or
Right.
you're gonna get left in the dust. And
Right.
so they, challenging them. I think that's
Right.
part of the thing that teachers don't do enough of these days is just giving the kids a challenge. Don't just let them
Right.
sit there. Like,
Mhm.
give them a
Yeah.
task
Yeah.
to do,
Yeah.
and see if they can accomplish it. And if they don't, you don't sit there and belittle them. You coach them through it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And that's where I can take some of those coaching tactics that I'd seen while I was at Henderson from all of our coaches and
Right.
implement that into a daily teaching
Yeah.
environment.
Yeah,
That's great.
And I think that's, I mean, you're hitting on something right there. You know, a lot of the kids coming out, you know, that motivation piece is so important,
Yeah.
and putting that challenge out in front of them. And here's the thing that I've learned, you know, being in this business 27 years is, you know, kids are kids, and they're going to rise to whatever level we put in front of them.
For sure.
I mean, there's absolutely no doubt about that. And, you know, like I said, in the years I've been doing it, I've yet to see a kid that, you know, if you really and truly get behind them, push them, and give them the tools to be successful, they're going to hit that target.
Just show them that you believe in them, that you
Absolutely.
care about them a little bit. Go to their games. Go
Right.
go to their
Right.
band performances or choir concerts.
That's
go
right.
support them outside of school. Show them that you
Right.
actually care about them, and you'll be
Right.
surprised at what they give you in return.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
You definitely have the right heart for education,
Yeah.
for sure. So you were talking earlier, you guys are moving to Texas.
Yes. So my wife and I were going to be moving to Lubbock, Texas this summer, and that was a bittersweet conversation, one that I lost a lot of sleep over.
Yeah.
You know, telling those kids, I told them right before spring break. That's kind of when Mr. Janaski wanted me to I don't want to say drop the bomb on them, but tell
Right.
them, you know, tell them, hey, next year might
Right.
be coming back. And it was tough. That was a tough
Right.
Friday, but
Yeah.
we made it through it, you know, and the kids, most of them understood
Yeah.
why, you know,
Right.
just for family reasons. We want to be close to family. Right now where we live, we're an hour from family on either side.
Right.
My folks over in Hot Springs, her folks in Searcy.
Right.
We live right smack in the middle in Benton. And so,
Right.
you know, other than our church family, we didn't really have a actual family around us to be able
Sure.
to rely on. We just had our firstborn child, Hudson. He was born January 29th. And so we're
Congrats.
really excited about that. We're starting to hit the sleep regression stage. So
Right.
sorry if I
Yeah.
look a little tired. See
Yeah.
the bags in my eyes. We were
That's
up
the
3
worst
times last
part.
night.
That's the
So,
worst
Yeah.
part, the no sleep.
but he'll be 4 months old at the end
Yeah.
of this month, and we're excited to get close to family. We have a slew of family members out there in
Right.
Lubbock. So we're going to be moving out there. Not 100% sure if I'm going to continue in the education teaching route, you know,
Right.
just based on the
See
fact
what
that I don't have
comes
my
up.
teaching
Yeah.
credentials, and it was
Right.
kind of a workaround here at Fountain Lake as a charter school.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping maybe I can get back into the athletics field,
Yeah.
collegiate athletics. There's Texas
Right.
Tech, there's Lubbock Christian out there,
Yeah.
looking at both of those and just seeing if there's anything available. So
Yeah.
keep your
Right.
fingers crossed
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you find something there. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
Lubbock's, it's a little island unto
Yes.
itself, but it's, I mean, honestly, it's a great
and
town
it's
out
growing.
there.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of
Oh,
folks
yeah.
moving out there because of the medical field, medical industry. There are a lot of new hospitals being built. Like
Right.
my wife, she's a nurse.
Oh, wow.
She's landed a job at the
Okay.
new hospital there.
Okay.
So
Right.
we're excited about that. But yeah, a town of 300,000 almost, and so
Wow.
we're looking forward to growing some roots out there. But
Yeah.
it was tough
Yeah.
having those conversations
Oh,
with the kids,
I
because
know.
I've made some awesome relationships here with
Yeah.
my students, and you know I told them
Yeah.
like, listen. I didn't die. I'm gonna be 9-10 hours away, but
Yeah.
give me your number. We're gonna still stay in contact, and you know, hopefully I can
There's
make it back for your
Facebook.
graduation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
there's Facebook.
yeah, exactly. Friend me on Facebook, or
I
follow me
know.
on Instagram. We'll stay in touch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, and we had the privilege of going to Marvel Elaine. We took a team down there and taught for a week, and even in that short week, you know, we made some inroads and some relation connectivity.
Right.
And most of them went back for graduation. I couldn't go because Fountain Lakes graduation had some family graduate, and but it's the same kind of thing. Again, I mean, can't emphasize that enough. Once you make those relationships with those kids,
Yeah.
I mean, they said those kids were just elated to see them, and I don't doubt that. And if you make those relationships, those kids will run through brick walls for you, no doubt about that.
I mean, a lot of times, especially like if you go to their games and stuff, you're spending sometimes more time with these kids than their own parents
Oh,
are.
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you get them for however many hours a day, from 8 to
Right.
3:30, you know, and so you pour into them, and it's tough
Yeah.
to
It
you know,
is, but I
move
mean,
on.
you know, it goes back to the saying I used to put on all my emails. You know, kids don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Correct.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's the truth,
Yeah,
and that
yeah.
goes for adults too. So
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know?
And you know, the thing is, it's, you know, I think when we get in the grind, sometimes we forget, you know, what an awesome opportunity
Yeah.
it is. And I mean, there's days. Hey, it's just like family. We get tired of them.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, I've got
You
my
know?
fair share of knuckleheads,
Yeah.
but those are the
Yeah.
ones I think I love the most. You
Oh,
gotta
yeah.
you gotta
Yeah.
love on them and show them that
Yeah.
you care more than
Yeah.
the other
They're
ones.
Yeah.
sometimes the ones that need you the most.
Right.
They're
Yeah.
the ones that
For
need
sure.
you
Yeah,
the most.
I mean,
So,
yeah, because you know, I was thinking about that the other day. Everybody, I mean, God's gifted everybody with a gift,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes you just got to dig a little deeper to find that diamond
sure.
in somebody else. I mean, like Candace, for instance. I'm still digging. I don't
Stop.
know. I mean, it may hit China first, but I think I'll find it one day.
Yeah.
Remember,
Maybe.
we got these outtakes, Michael. That
So,
workplace bullying, workplace bullying.
Listen, every kid just wants attention.
Yeah,
That's
you're
the
right.
thing. They just
Yeah.
whether it's negative
They-
or positive, hopefully we can
Right.
channel that into positivity and
Yeah,
For
give them a
sure.
purpose and a meaning. But
Yeah.
everybody wants that attention.
Yeah,
Yeah, you are
100%.
right. You are right.
100%. So.
If we can just get them off TikTok.
That's
yeah.
right.
yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
saw?
Darren's addicted to TikTok
Hey,
too.
trust me, I'm guilty too.
Yeah.
I love scrolling through
Yeah.
TikTok. and
I don't get on it because my daughter said you will get addicted.
Yeah.
Do not get on
just
there.
sit there and aimlessly scroll through
Well,
video after video.
I saw last night on the news that what state was that? But the first state is Montana. I think is the first state that banned it.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you know, we joke. I always tell like my sister, my cousin, I'm like, can you imagine us when we're, you know, if we make it to 80 or 90 and we're in the nursing home and we're all going to be on our
Sitting there.
phones.
Yep.
We're all
Yeah.
just going to be like, you
Yeah.
know, 90-year-olds on our phones.
Well,
it's going to be crazy.
But I don't know Jitterbug if it's got the connectivity or the
Yeah.
screen to be able to pull that off.
I mean,
so.
I don't know. I
Listen,
don't
kids
know.
these days are ingenuitive. They're creative. They will figure out a way, like you
Oh,
know
yeah.
as well as both
Mm.
y'all do. There's no service in this area hardly at
Yeah.
all,
Yeah.
unless you have the Wi-Fi password.
Yeah.
And these kids have figured out how to crack into it. I mean, our tech guys, bless their hearts, they're every day they're trying to figure out new
Yeah.
workarounds to change a password
Oh,
because
yeah.
the kids just figure it out. And they're,
Yeah.
I look
Yeah.
at a kid's phone and he's connected to the Wi-Fi, sitting there scrolling. I'm like, how did you get that? I don't know.
Yeah.
It
Hey,
was so funny because
Yeah.
when I was principal at Magnet, we had even middle school kids and
Yeah.
high school kids too, but they were changing their phone names because our tech coordinator would
Yeah.
go through and like kick people off
Yep.
or whatever,
Yeah.
and they were changing it to Candace Bennett's
Yep.
iPhone.
A lot has
and
changed
Coach
since we were in high
so-and-so's-
school.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
Oh,
like
yeah.
I was like, that's actually very smart. I mean, you know.
Well, and if one kid gets it, it's like I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
they're handing it
Yeah.
out
Oh,
to
yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
So.
And Apple's made it extremely convenient for that feature now, where you can just share the password
Yeah.
to
Oh
the
yeah.
next person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, they're gonna figure it out for
Yeah,
sure.
so-
They're always one step ahead. You just gotta
Yeah.
be trying to catch
So,
up.
you know, as far as coming in here and you know, like I said, with equipment and all that good stuff, I mean, it's a great place. Y'all got
Right.
somebody lined up, or are they interviewing for next year? Where
Yeah,
we at on
so
that?
so the position has been filled.
Okay,
In
good.
fact, she was on campus last, I guess it was Tuesday of this week. I was not here, so I didn't get a chance to meet her.
Mm. Right.
But I've been in contact with her,
Good.
trying to share, some different
Good.
things. I got a list of reliable students for her.
Right.
Got her little
Yeah.
flash drive with all the stuff on it to
Yeah.
help.
That's awesome.
The transition
Yeah.
process a little bit. But she seems really eager to come in. I think the
Right.
kids that got to meet her said they really enjoyed meeting her. So
Right.
looking forward to her coming in and filling that
Right.
role. I think she'll be a great fit.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
good.
I mean, this is
It's a unique job. for
yeah,
sure.
for sure. Because that's
Yeah.
what I started to say when I left Jessville. I'd done it for a couple of years and took that first admin job. You feel kind of, because it's one of those things where not everybody, number one, is interested in
Yeah.
it, and number two, you've got to have a certain skill set, and above all else, you got to have patience.
Yeah.
Because it's
Lot of patience.
it's not a sit in rows and sit and get kind of
Trust me, I tell kids every day, like, stop waiting till the last minute. You will not
Right.
get your project
Right.
edited. You're going to need
Yeah.
longer than one period to
Yeah.
edit this project in
Yeah.
Premiere Pro.
Yeah,
You're gonna
exactly.
need 2,
Yeah.
3, maybe 4 class periods. And some
Right.
of them don't
Yeah.
understand that.
Right.
They get to due day and they're
Yeah.
freaking out and they're like,
Yeah.
"Can I get an extension?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"You've known about this for 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But you waited till the last minute to film all your footage."
Darren tries to be hard on himself, but
Yeah.
I do know I go to church with one
Yeah.
of his former students from Jessville, and she said that she took his broadcasting class and was like, "Oh, that really made
Yeah.
her." She
Yeah.
really liked Coach Beckwith
Yeah.
and said
Yep.
that she really thought about getting into broadcasting
Yeah.
because of the class.
Well,
so
but that's again, it's the thing that I didn't think about going into that, and I'm sure you're the same way. You catch kids that that aren't into athletics or
Right.
band or whatever,
Yeah.
and then like you said earlier, you get a kid that walks in and then it just clicks.
Yep.
And I mean, it becomes something that they hadn't thought about.
Right.
Yeah.
And I probably, I know 2 or 3 for sure that went on to school. Had one that went on to Tennessee, he went over there and he got his in like sound recording out of all that, and he toured, or still does. He tours with a couple of big country names and sets
Yeah.
the sound up and all that stuff and loves it.
Yeah.
And you know, and it's every time I see him and we reconnect, it's just interesting to hear those stories. And but that little class led him to that, and,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he was a guy that just really kept to himself, that kind of
No,
stuff. But now
I get
he's,
it.
you know,
Yeah.
so yeah,
I tell my kids every day, like, listen, if you pay attention in here and you learn these programs, there are companies out there looking
Oh, yeah.
for media people and folks
Yeah.
that can
Yeah.
come in that they know technology,
Right.
you know, and I mean, for an example, Mr. Janaski has a nephew who he was a guest speaker to my classes last year. His name's Connor Holmes, and he went to, I believe, Lake Hamilton, worked his way out of Lake Hamilton, now is employed with Warner Media. So like the Warner Brothers,
Right.
it's a not spinoff, but it's like a brother partner to them.
Right,
And he's on set of the Avengers movies, and he's on set, he's
Wow.
meeting Chris
That's
Pratt,
so
and
cool.
he's on set of NBA on TNT, filming for, you know, Shaq and Chuck and all those
Right,
guys.
yeah,
I mean, it's
right.
crazy
It's
how
so
far
cool.
to see he's come, and he's younger than I am.
wow.
And he's in
Yeah.
his late 20s, and
Yeah.
he's been able to work his way up just in
Yeah.
that short amount of time to be
Yeah.
able to be on set
Oh, yeah.
and meet all these big time actors and
Yeah.
actresses. And I'm like, guys, you can do this.
Yeah.
Just pay attention in here
Right.
and take notes.
Oh yeah.
And take it seriously.
Yeah.
Yep.
And like I said, you know, with you know, you get the right piece of equipment in the right
Yeah.
person's hand. I mean, they can take off like that.
Yep.
So,
You just think about all the cool inventions, and I mean, not holding kids in a box and
Right.
just
Right.
letting them try to find their place.
Yeah.
you
I
know,
had
in the
fundamentals kids. The second week of school, I had cameras in their hands,
Mhm.
and that was kind of scary.
Right.
But I just said, guys,
Yeah.
you got to treat this thing like a newborn baby.
Right.
You got $3,000 in your hand.
Yeah.
Please, please, please
Yeah.
take care of it.
Yeah.
I sent them out. One of the first activities we did was a scavenger hunt. They had to go. I gave them a list of different things, and I kind of tweaked it. You know, like get a snake's or a bird's eye view of this. Get a snake's eye view of this, and kind of made it creative for them.
Right.
Yeah.
They ate that up. They loved
Oh,
that
Yeah.
activity because they were like, "When are we going to get the cameras? When are we going to get the cameras?"
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Trust me, I'm gonna get you guys
Yeah.
Right.
acclimated quickly.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the things, and once they do get to that point, man, they're off and running, and they don't look back. So,
Yep.
That's right.
well, before we get out of here, we like to do a couple of fun things. We
Yeah.
think, kind of, sort of. We'll put a little curveball on
pressure.
some of
Okay.
it. So, you see, I got my FL stuff on today, and so I was going to talk about favorite memory. So we'll start with you, Candace, since you're the lady of the bunch. Favorite Found
Oh
Lake
my
memory.
gosh.
ooh, I've already got mine ready.
I don't even know. I have so many good ones. Oh,
What-
I don't know. I think the raw egg challenge was pretty fun.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Donald and I did the raw egg challenge, and Darren MC'd it. It was really good. Just so many. I don't know. Just even. I know this is kind of silly, but just lunch duty. You know, getting to talk to the kids
Yeah.
and
Right.
you know, I mean, there would be crazy stuff. Like they would say
Yeah.
something, and I'm like,
Right.
do I need to look that up on Urban Dictionary? And they're like,
Yeah.
Right.
no, Miss Bennett, please don't look it up on
Yeah,
Urban Dictionary.
yeah.
Like they knew they'd messed up at
Right.
that point, you know. But I mean, we had a lot of fun. I mean, everybody worked hard.
Yeah.
You know, Darren,
Worked
we're
together,
going to
yeah.
no matter
Our
what.
motto for years
Yeah.
was "We try harder."
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I mean, we had a lot of fun. I mean, gosh, I can't even. With Donald Westerman and I, we had so many just fun times, and
Right.
just you know, I learned so much from him. I learned
Yeah.
so much from Darren. It just, I can't even. I always tell him it's like the 3 years that I was here just was almost. I mean, I hate to say, you know, I try not to put favorites on it, but just the team that we had was just. It was like almost one of those, you know, you watch football and you
Yeah.
have those Super Bowl teams and
Right.
you've got those coaches and the team. It was just like that. It was.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It,
was
I mean,
good.
and I'm not talking about just the admin team, but it was teachers and
Right.
everybody just
Yeah.
had the same vision and heart, and it really was just. It was truly amazing. I cried for 2 weeks
Yeah.
when I left, but I you know, I knew God was leading me in a
Yeah.
different direction, and even though it was really hard, and but. Like I said, I still have great memories, and
You can't
still
fake culture. You
Oh
know,
my
right.
gosh,
That's,
no!
That's awesome.
Yeah, I can't even pick just one.
Yeah.
There's so many.
Right. So,
So
what about
you're
you?
All right, so I'm gonna take you back 12, 13 years, senior night. Yeah, I know you know this story because I'm pretty sure
Yep.
you were there announcing
Yep.
the game
Yep.
that night. But Michael Kirk
Yep.
is.
Yeah.
And he is a hot commodity around the Fountain Lake.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're any part of Fountain Lake, if you have any knowledge of Fountain Lake, you know who Michael Kirk
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
He's one of our hardest working cafeteria workers over there right now for I believe it's Chartwells
Yeah.
that he works for.
Yeah.
But he has been around the community since
He's
I was
awesome.
in sixth, seventh grade. You know,
Yeah.
and my senior year, we both played basketball. He was manager for the team ever since his seventh grade year. And at the time, Coach Meskey was my coach. And, you know, he said, Kirk, if you want to play on senior night, you got to go get you a physical. You got to shave that mustache off. You got to get ready. You know, back then he was real
Yeah.
no-nonsense kind of guy.
Right.
And so he did everything he needed to. Kirk got to start senior night
Yeah.
with me and the 4 other seniors that we had. He comes in with about a minute left. We're I think we're playing bauxite. We're up 15, 16 points. And, you know, we're inbounding the ball. He called a timeout so we could get him subbed in. And inbound the ball right in front of our bench to me in the corner. Of course, for some reason, they come and try to trap me and double me in the corner. So I back up and just chunk it, hoping and praying that Kirk catches it in the opposite corner. He catches it right in front of our student section. I mean, you could
Yeah.
not paint a better screen.
Right.
Catches it right in front of the student section, lets it fly, nothing but net, three-pointer. The crowd goes
Yeah.
wild. We had
Yeah.
administrators walking in the other gym
Yeah.
because they were holding back tears.
Oh yeah.
Because it was
Yeah.
just a phenomenal moment.
Yeah. And I mean, even Bauxite went nuts that
Yeah.
night. Even their
Yeah.
crowd was
It
going
was
crazy.
a really
Yeah.
special moment, one that,
Yeah.
you know, it's a storybook
Oh,
ending
yeah.
to an awesome senior year. And that, I tell people to this day, that's my favorite Fountain Lake
Yeah.
memory. I don't know if it'll ever be topped.
Yeah,
Just because
yeah.
to see the jubilation and
Yeah.
the joy and
And-
everybody.
And to this day, he still sits on the bench with the coaches.
Right.
Over
Yeah,
there,
they call
you
him
know?
Coach Kirk.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
he's-
Oh yeah, he is like
Yeah.
pumping everybody
yeah,
up. It's
I mean,
awesome.
he's been one of my
Yeah.
closest
Yeah.
friends ever since high
Yeah.
school. A great
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
everybody loves him around here. And so
Yeah.
I would say that's probably my,
that's
my favorite
And
memory.
he's a walking basketball encyclopedia
Yes,
too.
and football. I mean,
Yeah,
you
and
could ask
football.
him, like, Kirk, who
Yeah.
won Super Bowl 12 and what was the
Yeah.
score? And he'll just rattle it
yeah.
off just like
yeah,
that.
he knows it. That's for sure. Yeah, he's a great guy.
What about
Great
you,
guy.
DB?
Well, you know, I got my championship ring on. That was one of them. But,
Yeah.
you know, I say that to, you know, I think about, again, I go back to community and
Right.
how everybody works together for that common goal. And, you know, that for sure that one. And kind of what you're saying, the ALS, y'all remember when that challenge was big. So me and Donald,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
we did that. It came out of, we couldn't just do it normal.
Right.
No,
bucket.
because y'all are extra.
Yeah,
I know.
We had a front end loader, John Bryant driving it, full of bucket of water, and they dumped it on us. You know, I remember
Ice
that.
water, and it was that picture's
Yeah.
hilarious.
And then the other one would be not to single out football, but when Donald and Mark Davis, the AD, came out on motorcycles.
Motorcycles.
Jeez.
That was awesome.
And the funny thing is, they came out through the Cobra, the tunnel.
Yeah.
And I think it was Donald's motorcycle that got kind of squirrely, but we
Yeah.
didn't know it at the time. Everybody was so pumped up, but he said that grass was slick. He almost slayed it over. But
that was awesome. I remember
yeah,
that. That was
yeah.
awesome.
But again, I go back to what you said about team. Just everybody here was, you know, at the time was great. But again, Fountain Lake, you know, is, you know, for whatever reason, people had, you know, I think they'd always just kind of overlooked. But I mean, you know, that was always the challenge for me is, you know, people, we didn't really, you know, our goal was to be number one at Fountain Lake always.
Yeah.
And by doing that, you know, people took notice. We
Right.
didn't care what everybody else was doing. We were just
Yeah.
trying to make us the best we could be. And I
Right.
think, and I think that has been carried on. And I'm so proud of, like I said, you know, that legacy continues with the kids. And, you know, like when, you know, I think it was last fall, we came over for a visit. And it's kind of like you said, walking in the halls when I stepped on campus in the fall. Kids are kids. Pep rally was going on, and I mean, it's just a
Yeah.
great place to be, no doubt about
100%.
it. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Because kids are going to make it fun, you know,
yeah.
100%.
no matter what.
Yep.
So this will be an interesting one for you. I know folks are probably getting tired of this. We're going to have to dive in our back for better questions. But so playlist, what's your playlist driving to and from work? So
Sometimes it's a podcast, sometimes it's music. I'm a big classic rock fan. I like Boston, Styx, Journey. You know, I'm kind of an oldie with that.
Right.
But I like country too. Zach Brown, big Zach Brown fan. Luke Combs, can't go wrong
Right,
with him.
right.
But when it's football season and August rolls around, I'm listening to fantasy football podcasts on the way
Oh.
to and from,
Oh, yeah.
trying to get my team, my lineup set and ready to go for the next week.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
for some reason, every year I still end up 6-6 or 5-7, 4-8. whatever
Right.
it is,
Yeah.
not making the playoffs. But
Yeah.
I mean, podcast, music,
Cool.
So
I like the music question just because
Yeah,
it's kind of
yeah.
cool to see
Yeah.
what everybody's listening to.
So what about what's the? This will be a good one. So what's the probably one thing that you've learned as a parent that you weren't expecting to learn?
well, I will just say, when you become a parent, it's a love like no other, and you
Yeah.
won't understand the
Right.
the significance and the amount of love behind it until you
Yeah.
actually become a parent.
Yeah.
And man, just holding him for the
Yeah.
first time, he's just
Oh.
beaming with pride.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's looking up at you, and it's
Yeah.
it's
Pretty-
a phenomenal feeling.
Yeah, it's
So,
a miracle for sure.
Yeah.
It's pretty
just
cool.
the magnitude of the love, because it's different than the love for a spouse.
Mhm.
There's similarities there, but there's also
Yeah.
differences.
Oh, yeah.
And just seeing my wife Emily become a mother too.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
just powerful to see
Yeah.
her
Yeah.
when she's holding him, and it's just nothing better.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no doubt
That's
about
awesome.
that.
that would
Yeah.
be my take on
Yeah.
it.
Well, and it's so funny. We have the one and only, which by the way, they've been married 4 years
Mm-hmm.
as of today. That's hard to believe, but they, but all that advice you get,
Mm-hmm.
going, when you're going through the process of the wife being pregnant and all that advice. I go back to the guy, when I first got into radio, and he was saying, "Hey man, you remember this?" And yeah, man, I got that. Did you take this
Yep.
class? I sure did. He said, "Well, you can forget all that. This is how it's really done."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how parenting.
Learn
Well,
by
is.
doing.
My
Learning
one
by
little-
doing.
My one little tidbit of advice for any dads that might be out, or future dads might be out there listening: just get in there and get active. Whatever you got to
That's
do to
right.
help, pitch in to help.
Yeah.
That's right.
If she's doing all the feeding, whatever it is, just get in there and help. Whatever you can do, change a diaper, even if it's poopy, just change
Yeah.
it. Get in there and get it knocked out.
That's right.
Poopy.
Yeah.
Here we are. We're talking
Yeah.
about. We're
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah.
Listen, we've talked about passing gas on the
Oh, geez.
podcast.
Yeah,
We're talking
yeah,
about
we've
poopy
hit it all.
diapers.
Yeah. I can remember. I was.
Michael's like, this is not going to end well.
I was coaching at the time, and so I had a few weeks off in the summer there when we had Hayden, and my wife came in one day, and he was sitting in there by the floor vent of the air conditioning and was asleep in the car carrier. She's like, "Why haven't you gotten him out of the carrier?" And I said, "Because that's where he fell asleep, in the car,
Yep.
in the carrier. I'm not waking him up."
He's zonked out.
That's right.
Yeah.
So-
We've had a few of those moments.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, man, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
there's no doubt you'll
Yeah.
land on your feet. You
It's
always
gonna be
have.
bittersweet.
Yeah,
It's gonna be real bittersweet leaving this place.
Yeah.
And I hope to come back and visit.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
graduations, holiday, things of that
Yeah.
sort.
Yeah.
Oh,
you
yeah,
will.
it's a tough place to leave. Like I said, Candace don't know it, but we threw a big party when she left. And so,
Oh, listen, I was telling somebody the other day before we get off here, but it was hilarious because he and Donald got me really good. It was like I had forgotten to write the letter of resignation,
Yeah.
and so the board meeting was like that night or
Right.
something, and they were like, "You just go in there and just write. All it's got to be is one sentence. Just say, I resign my position as
Yeah.
assistant principal on this date." I'm like, I can't just write one sentence. I'm
yeah.
like, because I'm
I'm
have
the
to
same
write,
way.
"Thank
Mine was
you
like 2
so
paragraphs.
much." Yeah, okay. It had to been at least,
Yeah.
3 or 4.
Yeah.
Just, they need it now. Just write this. I'm like, okay, fine. They're like, nobody's going to see it. Write one sentence. Feeling guilty the whole time. Give it to them. Get to the board meeting. It's posted up there for
Everywhere.
everybody to see. They're laughing. And I
Yeah.
was like, I hate y'all. I was so mad at them. I told all the board members, I was like, they made me do that.
That's
Because
awesome.
I felt so bad. So bad for doing it. But anyway.
Well, y'all know as well as anybody, I'm gonna bleed that purple and gold till I die.
Oh, yeah.
So-
I know.
It's
It's
hard not-
it's
yeah.
in your veins.
It-
It's in
it
my,
is.
yeah.
Well,
But-
man, thanks for taking
Yeah.
time out and
Yes,
visiting
we've
with
It's
us.
been
enjoyed
a
it.
huge pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
y'all for coming out here
Yeah,
and being
you betcha.
accommodating.
And
So,
good luck. We'll be praying
Yeah,
for you.
that's
Thank you
right.
so much.
All right.
Appreciate y'all very much.
You betcha. That's going to do it for this edition of Spilling the Tea.